Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. If you're joining me and you don't know who I am, my name is 𝗘𝗺𝗠𝗿. I am an executive coach, a leadership executive coach, and I am a former educator. So my experiences have been around educating young children and educating adults. So why are we here this morning? Well, prior to that, I recently started using this platform. Although I have this platform since 2018, I chose this year to bring my focus on to YouTube channel, figuring it out, trying to maintain it, and ensuring that what I bring to the table is going to help you in the long run. This morning, we are talking about the many challenges that we face, and I'm taking myself as the story behind it all because I know for myself there were many times throughout years when I started and my coaching practice and my own business, how I felt like I was running like a chicken with no head. um, then realizing all I was doing was going around in circle. And through that, I found 7 things that I have learned in the process, throughout the process, and I wanted to bring that to you as well. So if you are somebody who's new in leadership, someone who's new into building your own business, you're trying to build a business or trying to maintain life itself, then this is for you, because we know that as we embark onto this journey of entrepreneurship, there are many things that can happen. It can feel very exhausting, it can feel very daunting. Sometimes you may feel like you don't want to show up, you don't want to do anything, and I know for myself that's where I was, and it brought me anxiety to a point that I felt like all I needed to do is just close it all up and go mind my business and stay in the 9 to 5 lifestyle. But again, realizing that I also have a purpose and a goal, and the purpose is for me to come in and serve and help others find their best selves, not only in leadership, but being able to disrupt old mentality of how they used to see themselves as leaders, how they used to see themselves as someone who can run a show, but yet again doubt herself or himself. So I focus on helping women really build confidence. That's why I'm a confidence strategist and helping women build confidence. But in this throughout this journey and in this channel, we are going to share a lot of my stories to where I have been. And if you're hearing in the background, there's a lot going on. I have my neighbor's dog that's barking. I have worship going on around me with the TVs that's on. There's a lot going on, but I wanted to actually be fully me and show up and not having to go and filter anything, because what's the purpose of filtering if we cannot show up as our true self? Why are we unleashing unapologetically? Well, in 2020, I would say the end of 2020 or 2021, I'm trying to remember, I started the podcast where I wanted to go on a journey of building confidence. And I had the motto where I would say, I wear my confidence like I wear my stilettos. And unleashing unapologetically came up because that was the same time when I went on branding myself as the you slay confidence. And you, like the letter U, slay as slaying confidence. But you know what? Through the years, I've realized that in this journey, you have to be as authentic as yourself, as authentic as possible. You have to come in and show up and helping other people if you really want to help other people be their true selves. So, who are you really slaying? How are you slaying? Are you really unapologetic? How are you showing up to be unapologetic? And these were the questions that I had to ask myself. And excuse again the background because my dog downstairs, neighbor's dog, it's not mine, but my neighbor, is barking nonstop. It's been going on all morning. And I don't know, sometimes it depends on a song that it's listening, or it depends on if there's something happening around in the neighborhood. So be mindful of that. But I wanted to bring to your attention those seven things for me that I've learned. And it's not only in business or about business that I've learned what I've learned, but it's also in life. And I wished I knew these things from the very start. Some of them I did, but I felt like along the way, I felt like I got lost in the sauce. I got lost in the shiny objects. I got lost into too many voices. Everybody's trying to come up with their own thing and telling you theirs are better than yours. And then you go into a spiraling journey, and then you actually bring yourself down. And that's where I was. I brought myself down many times when I know what I had was really good. I know the service that I was bringing was really uplifting and empowering. I know that I have brought transformation to many other people that I have served in the many industries that I have served thus far. And yet I couldn't believe that for myself. And I felt like 2024 had to be the year where I had to show up and, truly say to myself, you know what, Nadej, you cannot keep doing this. First of all, it's not bringing you joy. It's not bringing you to be authentic. It's not bringing you money. If you keep hiding behind that wall, if you keep, showing up and not truly be authentic. So how are we being authentic through our journeys are the things that I wished I knew. So I would not have to be running like a chicken with no head. All right. So, why are we talking about that? Is because, in this intricacies of financial management and building communication, building sustainable businesses, having relationship, learning from here and there, we can really feel lost in the sauce. And when we are not really holding on into building ourselves, inner selves, and build the resilience, we won't be able to manage the things that we wish to manage in life, in our business, in our relationship, in everything that we do. So, in those seven things that I'm covering today, we are going to be talking about those pillars, those aspects in each area. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the lessons that I've learned through. I'm gonna start actually with the emotional, because I was gonna go in a order the way I have it written here, but I'm gonna go with the emotional because the emotional is everything. The emotional is everything. Emotional stands behind how resilient you are and how adaptable you are. Okay. So for me, I've always known that, I had that resilience in me because I grew up in a family where I've seen my grandmother being a resilient woman in the church, at home. People are coming to her for counseling and help. I've seen my aunts and my, like standing behind the churches and strong pastors. They're going, they preach, they're doing work. But I've also seen how they suffered. I also seen how they were living in pain and a lot of things that they were doing. Well, as Christian, they had to always be the model for everybody else to follow their leads. In the process of doing so, I also noticed that they were not happy. They may have been happy, joyful to serve the Lord, to do the work that God has given them to do. But in the long run, they were not really enjoying, their purpose. And I came into myself and I said, you know what, Nadej, you have to be able to live a life where you really enjoy the purpose that is given to you to serve. So therefore, there will be challenges that you will be facing. There will be situations that will keep you to ask yourself, do I really need to be here? Okay, so what I had to do is cultivating that resilience in me. I had to go in a search, soul search to figure out who I am. Who am I? Asking that question all the time. And through that, I realized that the person that I am was that person who struggles with, setbacks, who struggles with challenges, who struggles with failures, who struggles with procrastination, who struggles with, the need to be valued by the world, who struggled with validation. That person is that person who struggled with a lot of things that did not help: uncertainty, doubts, you name it, fears, and anxiety. And social anxiety was that thing that really was keeping me, holding me hostage, because I was always thinking that I have to have that front. I have to show up a certain way so I can be valued by people, and never really valued myself. So therefore, the adaptability came in that place where, you know what, you cannot say you are fighting those setbacks and yet unable to accept that setbacks are actually there to teach you to learn and be at your best, wherever situations that you stand. That because you have that strong mind, you have that resilience, you know that it's okay, you're gonna keep at it, then you won't be able to sustain, right? So I am that person. And I had to say it to myself. I had to be honest to myself and say, you know what, you are that person. And it's okay if you tell people you're not okay. It's okay if you tell people, hey, things are not really what you think they are, right? So I had to also come to a place where I understand my emotion. They call that the emotional intelligence. I had to understand my emotion. I had to understand my feelings, the things that are making me hurt, the things that are making me cry, the things that are making me feel like, why, asking that why question, and not able to relate with other people or build that interpersonal relation with other people. I needed to understand how to deal with conflicts, how to resolve conflicts. And not too long ago, about almost a year and a half ago, I went through something that I called painful, because it was a broken relationship, and I couldn't really understand where it came from, and I realized that a lot of that had to do with me, my internal ways, the way I take things. I always assume things, and I was always standing behind a glass, projecting, certain things that are not true. And once I started doing that, it just became my reality. And we hear it all the time. Whenever you hone into an assumption, that you dwell on it, it becomes your reality. And these were the narrative that I had in my head all the time, right? Amidst the whole other challenges that I was going through, my mom being sick, my relationship with my brothers, and all these things were just not connecting. So I realized that I needed to develop the understanding of my own emotion, how I feel, how angry I am. And I found a lot of anger that I had to go and speak to myself and write on my journals and say, you know what? It cannot stay that way anymore. So if we are not able to understand our own emotion, then it's going to be hard for us to work on all the other pillars that I am going to bring to you today. Because so emotional is the first thing of the things that I had to learn, the place where you had to build resilience and understanding your emotion intelligently. Now, my next one is the spiritual. I I could say that, for sometimes, I always say I'm a purpose driven person because of leadership, but are we really purpose leaders when we are always in doubt? Fear and doubt, they are part of our lives, and we understand that. But how are we embracing them in order for us to serve the purpose that God has given us? I was running away from my purpose. I was running away from the gifts and the talents that God had given me. And to tell you, I strongly fought with God for many years because I was like, God, I don't care if my grandmother was the leader in the church, because I grew up with my grandmother and my aunts, my uncles, and I grew up in a church. So these were the things that I know. But I used to always say, I'm not going to do what they do. I'm not going to follow their footsteps because I'm not going to be a pastor. It's not for me. But it doesn't have to be that you going and you preaching and doing all these things. It's how you come in, how you humble yourself, how you serve, the Lord. You pray and everything. You give God grace for even the things that you do not have. And it took me a long time to really understand that. Even when it was preached to me or taught, I was always fighting that mentality. I was always fighting. Wait, you mean to tell me that I have to go and, talk to people and making amends and reaching out to people who've hurt, not to get angry, leaving doubt, behind. I couldn't deal with that. But I, as a leader, had to really go back and understanding the real purpose of when you say you are a purpose driven leader, what exactly does it tell? It entails that you have to embrace, situations where you get hurt and you say, oh, okay, I understand, maybe there's a lesson behind it. What is that lesson that I must learn? And once you start learning the lessons behind a situation, an event that happened to you, then that's when the growth, the spiritual growth, start to emerge. You start building wisdom so you don't think the same way you used to think with a stuck mindset. You don't hold on to negativity as much as you used to or at all. You start letting positivity get in your head and you start changing the narrative in your head, just so when you are leading other people, you can lead them with integrity. You can lead them with a standard that is helping them be, at their best as well. Because when we come in to serve the gifts that God has given us, is so we can help other people find the alignment as well in anything that they are building in their dreams and their goals. And if you are not prepared for that, then go back and then reassess yourself spiritually and ask God, how am I using my gifted talents? How am I using those ways that you have given me, the wisdom, the knowledge that you have given me, in order for me to help somebody else get unstuck or help them find their purpose or help them find love within? Because spiritual for me had a lot to do with self-love. And if I could not go into my search, into my soul, into adapting to what was changing, not only in my environment, but in my own mental and my personal being, then I wouldn't be able to help other people. So the spiritual is the second one that I have learned about. Now let's go into the financial. Financial. That's the biggest one for me. Financial, understanding cash flow, understanding long-term financial planning. Who, your girl, she struggled with that. As an executive leadership coach, as an executive coach, a life coach, I am telling you, I have suffered with that for many years. Prior to being an executive coach, I had a different type of business. And I used to make fruit baskets, and I remember I used to set up because I'm an event planner. It was all about decorating, having beautiful things, for wedding, for parties, and all that. But your girl suffered because, first of all, she could not understand money. I could not understand money. I can tell the world how to manage their money, but I could not manage my own. Isn't that funny? I could not manage my own. I could not recognize the importance of cash flow because money to me was always taboo. It was always that, you have to work really hard to have the money. Or because I grew up in Haiti, when my mother used to send money in Haiti, then my grandparents used to have a way where, once they changed the currency from American money to Haitian money, then we have a certain amount of money that we can hold on to, and we cannot buy the things that we want, or things are too expensive, or your mom is really working hard, she's the only one working to send us money, she's divorced with your dad. All these stories used to be embedded into their fear of money, about money. So for me, I'm sorry, there's a lot going on here. For me, um, it brought in fear. It brought in that tension about, managing money the real way. So therefore, every time I would have money, I have to spend it. Every time I have money, it's if it's not being spent on things that makes no sense, things that are not even sustainable, things that are not even helping me grow, then that money is just gonna be spent somehow, right? So managing it was not a good strategy for me. And like I said, I would tell somebody else, I would give the best advice to someone about, hey, you need to manage your money. You need to have a bank account. You need to do, to save your money so you could have, and, when you want to allocate it somewhere else. But me, nah, I did not have that structure. So there was not a structure in managing my cash flow. There was no structure in maintaining that healthy relationship and balance with money because, again, there was a fear, and the fear is what I've always known since I was a kid, let alone to plan it, having a budget. I did not really understand budget until I took a few courses where I was taught, about budgeting. I was taught about how to set up a budget, and all of that. I find that they were necessary, and when I was stuck in my way, I used to say that I wish I knew these things, but I wish my parents will teach me. And I put the blame on them. But there's nobody's to be blamed except, accepting the fact that, okay, now that you know about it, what are you going to do differently? How are you going to change it? And that's the mindset I had to change to, is that instead of staying on a blaming position, just say to myself, okay, how are you going to change that? What can you do better in order for you to manage your money better, or to know how to allocate your money, or to even set up a budget? So I went into getting spreadsheets, budgeting Excel sheets, making sure that all my receipts, I was holding on to all my receipts for a whole year, receipts month by month, just to add them and then go back and then see where all my expenses went. Then I started realizing that, wow, my money was, either my money or my money with my partners and all that, when we going out and eating out, all this were spent on outings and nonsense, things that maybe we did not really need. So what can I do better in order for me not to go back into that? So I went back into ensuring that, okay, if it's not something that I need, something necessary, something that's going to save my life and the life of others around me, then I don't want it. I had to learn to understand the differences between something you need and something you want. If you want it, what's the purpose behind your want? Do you want it because with what you want it's going to help serve you? Do you need it because if you don't have it, then you may not have a roof over your head, you may not being able to pay your car, and all these things I had to learn. And I can tell you, it brought tears into my eyes when I realized a lot of those downfalls, the things that I did not know how to better do. So when I come into the surface, I came in with the intention to help other women, entrepreneurs, aspiring leaders, women who are moving into the CEO mindset, a CEO position, to know how to better manage their finances and understanding cash flows. Yes, you may have learned it, but have you really practiced it? So these were the things that I needed to do, understanding the forecast, understanding how to invest my money, and yes, the strategies behind it. And you don't grow if you do not really put your mind into that process in order for you to prosper. So if you want to prosper, I would say knowing how to allocate your monies into funds or into investing into businesses that are going to help you, or even saving your money and then spending it on the things that are necessary, not the things you just want because you're having, my friend used to say, a seafood diet. Everything you see, you want to have, you want to eat. So it does not have to be this way. All right. Now, the fourth part that I'm going to bring that I have learned is in relationship. Relationship. All right, your girl here, she used to have a hard time trusting people, trusting herself. It's like, if you cannot trust yourself, it's going to be hard for you to trust anybody else. It doesn't matter how much they love you, how much they fall for you, how much they give you. If you do not have that self-love, it's going to be hard for you to love anyone around you. And I can testify to that. I found relationship to be something that I struggled with a lot. I struggled relationship, family relationship. So that bond, with my bloodline, my mother, my father, my brothers, cousins, you name them. And all that is because I used to always feel resentful and angry because I was brought to Haiti when I was only 6 months old. I was born in St. Martin, and my parents moved from St. Martin to move to Chicago. So from there, they brought me and my oldest brother in Haiti, and then we were raised by my grandparents. So At the age of 6 months old, I've lived in Haiti until I was 19. So it took me until I was 13 years old to really know my mother face to face, where she came to Haiti, and know my dad around the same year, I believe. So from there was always that anger and resentment towards them. Felt like, they should have tried much more to get us back or to live with them. Or yes, I was raised by beautiful people, and I have the best education ever, from internal and external education. They give all they could, but I also felt like there was something that was lacking in terms of relationship between daughter and father and mother. And I held my father responsible for a lot of things, because there was not a great relationship between him and my mom. They got divorced, and after my youngest brother was born, and there was a lot going on their end that I felt like I carried on my own shoulders. Their divorce, them not being together, or us not living together. I carried anger over anger, and I felt them on myself. And through that, I felt like, I never nurture love for what love is. And on top of it, even when I know that my grandparents and I know that my mom loved us, until this day, she does not say the word "I love you," and it's not something I've really grown up to hear my grandparents say like instantly. It's due to a disciplinary action, or yeah, mostly due to disciplinary action. You do something bad, you get reprimanded, you get disciplined, and then you get, why we had to do that is because we love you. And then that's it. You don't hear that "I love you, I love you." And I felt like I never really understood love, because, it has to be said, right? So I thought. But what about the love that I must have for myself? So I fought with loving myself, because I was always seeking something bad about me. Because when I was growing up again in school, and around friends, around people in church, there's always that, well, you are disobedient, or you do your own thing. There's always that you get reprimanded for every little things. And with all of that, I thought, gee, if I get reprimanded, what's the point? Right? And I could never find a purpose behind me loving myself, behind me building a relationship. And building a relationship with other people as well, staying in a relationship where we build collaboration, we build partnership, and all these things. And when I finally get it, I run away from it. So it's the same when you are building a business, is that you have to be able to build relationship and trust. And if you cannot have self-trust, you cannot have trust for other people, and you cannot have love and self-love for yourself, then you cannot love other people. How are you going to be able to collaborate with somebody else when you don't trust yourself, right? So these were the things that I had to go back and learn the process of nurturing that connection, self-connected, and then connecting with other people, self-love, then loving other people, embracing myself so I can embrace other people, fostering trust. That was hard, because I everybody can trust me, the whole world can trust me, but some part of me was never able to let go, really, so I can let myself trust others. So it was really hard. It has been a long process cultivating the trust in order for me to really rely on somebody else. And finally, when I thought that, oh, okay, it feels good to really trust, then I realized that those people that I'm trusting, they don't think that I trust them, because um, I go back in retreating. I go back into when there's something I'm not communicating my pain, or I'm not communicating my intentions, or my thoughts, and all that was really hurting. So when you are building a business, you have to be able to um, col- collectively express your thoughts, because that's what's going to help you build better relationship, is having a way to communicate, when things are not going well, and when things are not really helping you, and being able to speak it and speak the truth, and because if you cannot, people are not going to trust you. And when you think you finally have it, and you're able to give in that trust, because they had already lost the trust in you, whatever you say is not going to help. And I know that I have gone through that. So that would be one thing that I would say to you, is that work on your on building trust and building relationship that are going to help you maintain through the process of building yourself as a leader, building your business, and having undeniable relationship. So number five, I would say number five is the physical well-being. I could say that for myself. And if I'm looking around, there's not anything. It's just that I look into my notes, and then I kind of reflect before I look at the camera. um, I could say that, physical well being is important. It's important when we don't care for ourselves. We not prioritizing our well-being, it can really affect us in the decision making, right? Decision making, if we are not at the right mindset, if we do not have the right mindset, then it's hard for us to make decisions that are going to help us propel forward. So when you are you are exercising your body, you're exercising your mind, you are establishing boundaries that are important for you, making sure that, hey, you know what, if this is not the right time, being able to tell people, hey, this is not the right time, I cannot show up. They may not be happy about you stopping yourself from being in their events, or their parties, or whatever is happening, but you are able to give that to yourself. When you focus on keeping your well-being, your mental health in the healthily way and matter that you could do, what's going to help you is help you be successful in everything that you do. You cannot go to work feeling overwhelmed. I know I've experienced a situation when I, in 2016, was going through the hardest heartbreak ever. Well, I've been through many heartbreaks, um, but at that time, to me, that was the hardest. And until I realized it wasn't. But it was at that time. And everything was affected. My well-being, my physical demeanor, my intention, my body. I was losing weight within days. I came from 142 to wearing size zero, at my age. And there was a lot going on. There was a lot going on. My finances were, like going like up and down the hill. So I had to find focus. And I remember my mentor at the time at work, because I would go to work. I would go in my office, I would lock my office door, and I will just cry. I'll be driving on the road and I'll be in tears, crying. Almost got in a mini car accident that way because I'm so spaced out. And I remember she approached me and she was like, "Look, Miss Montes, if you don't fix that, you don't fix that. But I'm saying right now, there are two choices. I'm giving you two choices. It's either you take a break, you work on yourself, and you come back, or I'm gonna have to let you go." And I was not going to let myself be let go. Okay? That's one thing. So I had to choose the first choice, which was working on myself, taking a break. And I took the break. It was good for me because at that time when I took the break, I went and spent some time at my brother, and he took me skydiving, and was it skydiving? Whatever, zip lining, and I was able to talk to him, and I was able to hear his point of view. And I think that brought clarity to me at that time and helped me find peace within to come back and say, okay, I'm ready to start working on me. Before that, I could not think clearly. I could not think that way. So I do think that, when we do take time to work on ourselves, when we do, whether it is exercising or whether it is a mental workout can be simple as writing a journal, right? You start writing your journal, or you start recording your voice and then listen to your voice. You start praying more. All this are mental workout. You do the mental workout as much as you do the physical workout. And I then at that time I was working out day and night. I would go to work out on my own and then go to my trainer and work out with my trainer. And I was going and exercising, and my focus was like, okay, now I'm ready. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to relocate from the place where I was living to going to another place. The physical environment needed to be changed as well. And because sometimes you need to change your physical environment, not just your physical body, but the physical environment. Maybe the location was not going to help me grow. Maybe the environment was not going to help me grow. So I needed to refocus. I needed to visualize where I was going. So that was where I had to start placing boundaries, how I show up, who I was talking to, managing certain things that I did not want to bring to my home anymore as overload work. Work has to be done. It'll be done at work. And deciding not to go and work on a Sunday or work on a Saturday, or even if it's not a work day, I would still find myself going and helping at the office. And I had to start shifting all those because they were not helping. So I believe that, as someone who's leaning into a position, a higher position, whether it's CEO or you are aiming there, start looking at how you want to set boundaries that are going to help you be at your best all the time. Because if you are not at a mental state that is pl- prepared to deal with problems just so you can solve them effectively and efficiently, then you are going to find yourself always spiraling down into the rabbit hole. So we need to remove ourselves from situations that can cause us to feel threatened, feel burnout, feel like, we're gonna be disengaged. All these things we need to remove ourselves from by simply taking ourselves one step at a time, setting boundaries that are going to help us establish relationship to grow and be productive as well. So eliminate carrying workload at home when you can just do it at work. Give yourself time, protect your time, manage your time effectively. Conversations that you are having with people, avoid gossiping. If you know that gossiping is not helping your well-being, why engaging in that? So avoid people telling you about somebody else. It's okay if you tell them, you know what, I understand that that may be a concern of yours, but it's not of mine, so therefore please refrain from telling me about the things that do not interest me. Okay. And try to see as much as possible how you can remove excessive stressors that could cause you to feel burned out all the time, whether it is at home or in your work environment. Now, we can carry on to the intellectual part. The intellectual part for me is what I call the continuous learning, right? I'm always trying to figure out new things. I'm always trying to learn new things, trying to get some credentials of some type of form. Um, because it's not about having degrees, but it's about what have you learned and how it can help you propel forward, and how you can grow continuously. It's going to help you understand how wise you are becoming the more you learn about new things. I always say that, it allows you to see life with a different perspective, because when we are not intellectually preparing ourselves. And what I mean by intellectual, I'm not saying go to college, or those of you who want to go continue and go back to college or have your doctoral, your master's. Actually, I am supportive of that, because I too want to go for my doctoral degree, right? But in the meantime, I could always continue to learn. I could always work on my personal development, read a book, that helps me understand finances, read a book that helps me understand leadership, read books about maintaining relationship, all that are personal development. Go to a conference or go to a workshop to learn about these tools that are going to help you continue to help you in your success in life, in your personal life or your professional life. So it is important and imperative that we focus on embracing our growth, embracing our mindset, shifting the mindset. And you will hear me all the time say disrupting the old mentalities, because when many years ago, leadership was a one-way street. But you have to understand that we cannot lead the way all the time. We have to prepare the way so other people can come in and learn to be leaders, right? So we are there to always be students. And when we are always be students, we are committing ourselves to a lifelong journey of learning. So stay on that track, stay in that place where you are learning about the industry, what's changing around you, what's changing in your environment, what's changing in the market. What do you know about the market fluctuates, right? How it goes on up and down. What do you know about, real estate? Are you informing yourself? Can you afford, if you had to get unstuck, to go and invest in real estate or invest in Bitcoin, whatever it is? I'm not a Bitcoin person, by the way, but I am informing myself about it just so I can better understand it. So you need to better understand these processes, these tools, so you don't feel stuck and you can actually engage in conversations when people are talking to you. So don't look at being in your position or propelling forward into a leadership or CEO position as you only need to know leadership and that's it. No, you need to know and expand your knowledge just so you can know how to help the people who are going to work with you, your stakeholders, your employees, and your clients and your customers, people who are coming to you. So it's imperative that you learn, you invest, you investigate. I used to I worked in a school setting for years, and I believe that children are always discovering and they are always investigating. So as leaders, as women, especially in this age and years, as women, we have to be on a discovery mode all the time. So see what are the new skills you can acquire, and once you acquire them, who can you go to and ask to mentor you and teach you to help you? Because you want to be successful in your journey. You want to be able to evolve all the time. And its evolvement does not happen in a stuck mindset. It happens in a growth mindset. So look into where you can continue to learn new things, learn to acquire new skills. And did I cover almost everything? Oh, I have one more thing. The last one is the physiological. The physiological stress management. This is something that most of us suffers a lot with, right? Um, how to manage our stress level. Don't you ever feel like sometimes you have the whole world on your shoulders because you're trying to carry it all? I have had to learn that there are things we can control and there are things we cannot control. And when we cannot control them, we have to say, okay, I understand. Thank you. There are things we simply cannot control. So, implementing effective stress management techniques are strategies that all of us need to bring into our life, into our journeys, into our business, into our home, anything that we mingle with. We need to bring those techniques along, because when we are mindful of who we are, when we are mindful of our situations, when we are aware of what's happening, it helps us be mindful of how to approach it. I believe that there are many exercises that we can do to help us find peace within. But you won't be able to do it if you are not really willing to let go of the things that you have held for many years. We carry luggages along our ways, our sides every day. We carry these luggages and they are really impeding our lives. They causing us to feel stressed. I felt like I used to bring my 2016 journeys into my 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 relationship. I carried my 2000 years relationship into my newest relationship. It's like, when do you stop? So in business, you cannot carry the things that did not work for you into something new that you're trying to do that's going to support and help you grow. You have to be able to detach. And one of the things that I do feel like, especially us women, we struggle a lot with is detachment. We struggle with detaching with families. We struggle with detaching with friends. We struggle with detaching with exes. We struggle with detaching with children. We struggle with detachment. And when we actually allow ourselves to let go of that struggle and actually say, you know what, we were not meant to be, therefore, we were not meant to be together. Not that we were not meant to be, we were not meant to be forever together. Then therefore I understand there is a time. We embrace seeing it. We embrace associating ourselves with the changes. We embrace the change. Once we start embracing changes, what's going to happen is that it's going to help you change the way you frame those thoughts in your head. So reframing the thoughts that we had in our heads is not because I want to let go of you. It's not because I want to let go of the relationship. It's not because I want to let go of my clients or my staff. It's because at this time their service have ended. And when we are able to say, okay, the service ended, then we can move forward. That's how it is in business. We have to be able to say when a service ended that thank you for your service. It was well appreciated. Now next, what is next? How do we move to the next level? And once we are able to say that, what's going to happen is going to help us form new statements in our head, new narrative in our heads in order for us to help ourselves and help other people in the journey as well. So our well-being in our physiological growth is important because we need to bring these strategies. We need to manage the way we approach. We need to breathe in and breathe out, and let's say inhale and exhale the, like we inhale the good and exhaling the bad vibes that have been brought into our lives in order for us to prepare for the growth that's happening in our environment. Like that, we let go of stress. Like that, we let go of things that do no longer serve us, and we have a better well-being. We prepare our environment for the better as well. We start working on cleaning, making sure that, we empty our mindset about the negativity. We start making new ways for our way of thinking. We improve the way we address our environments in and out as well. So these are the things that I had to learn, and I thought of them and wrote them down. And I, because I have them on Google Sheets, and I go back and I couldn't really understand why at some point I was so stuck until I really broke them down, and realizing that it's because a lot of that I did not have them when I was growing up. Because when I was growing up to be a kid. I grew up to be a kid who, you have to learn how to clean after yourself. You have to learn how to cook. You have to learn, because you're a girl, you will get married sometimes, and you have to be, proper. You have to follow the Bible. You have to do. There's so many you have to do that were always front in the forefront, that when I go back and I look back and I'm saying to myself, yes, although they were good because they are part of those 7 pillars that we addressed, but how were they really helping me to prepare me for maturity, to prepare for relationships that are different than mom and dad, relationships where you have to build partnership, collaborations, collective relationship. That's what I'm talking about. Or businesses, when you have a business and you have to make sure that you know the in and the out of it. I did not know these things, and I wished I knew them then. So it would have been easier for me. But again, we know if it was easy, then everybody in the world would have done it. But it's because it's never easy. So we always have to be on a constant learning. And that's why we talked about, continuous learning is important, because once we get it and it sinks in, now our work is to go and then develop it. So therefore, yes, I wish I knew about managing my finances better. But now that I know about it, I'm doing it differently in order for me not to go back into situations where I felt like I don't know which way to go. So I wouldn't want that for you if you are in the process or you aspire to become someone who's going to go into leadership or someone who's going to go into building a business, what are the things you need to know? You need to know how to manage your stress. You need to know how to open into continuous learning. You need to know how to build trust with other people. You need to know how to balance, the lifestyle that you desire to have and manage your work place as well. So build boundaries. You need to know how to develop relationship with God, the most high power, just so as you go into the work and to the purpose that he has given you to serve, you do it with humbly, and you do it with integrity, and also building that resilience that you need to have within yourself in order to grow. So that's going to be all I have to offer you today. I have posted a previous videos, and I want to say thank you to those of you who left messages or who left a comment. I appreciate that of you. But again, it's new. Again, I'm joining this platform, like making sure that yes, I have all my ducks in a row. I have planned, the way I want to strategize this platform, because I have started it from where I was when I was doing the audio podcast, but this time I want to do it where I'm coming in and show up live, where you get to see me and having conversations with me. So with that said, I'm saying thank you to you all, and then I hope to see you again in the future.